So today I want to talk about immortality. Would you want to be immortal? Most people say they wouldn't, claiming it would be too painful to watch their loved ones die, civilizations crumble, the sun fizzle out, and the universe collapse. But my take? It depends. So you see, human nature stands on a paradox. Our mortality fuels our drive to seek meaning. And mortality creates desire. It's a gap in our spirit that we try to fill. It is our very mortality which causes in us the desire, the need, the wanting, the yearning, the grasping for more. It creates in us this gap, this hole that we try to fill with all manner of things. From houses to all of the stuff that we fill them with, to cars and lovers and children and success, quote unquote, careers, money, status, even safety. It's a matter of chasing to be enough. We're trying to be enough, and that's what we're after. That's what we're chasing. And to carry all of these things and wantings and desires and into an immortal existence, indeed, it would be suffering. It would be torturous even. Immortality detaches us from this chase, I think. Hypothetically speaking. You know, if you were immortal and you truly could not die, then I believe you might come to see the impermanence of all of these things and how little they all matter. I think one might become detached from it all a bit like a Yoda or a Gandalf. I imagine this person is like a monk sitting serene and tranquil up on like a mountaintop as the sun explodes and engulfs the entire solar system. They would be unwavering in their acceptance of all that transpires. Such a being will have closed this gap, this hole inside of themselves that every human is trying to fill. They will have become complete, hopefully, in their wisdom and experience that someone doesn't need or want, and if they have ascended beyond the common human condition, then I would imagine that's what it means to be enlightened, right? And so if that's true, then the good news is that you don't need to be immortal in order to access that enlightenment. Because we have people like that who already exist. And they're not immortal. At least, I assume they're not. Which that means that this wisdom, this enlightenment, is available right now, in this lifetime. It's available when you choose to see that you are already whole and complete and good enough. And there's nothing left to chase. There's no void left to fill. And so that brings me to the hero's journey. That's really what I want to talk about today. The hero versus the guide, these two different roles in narrative. You see, our culture tends to glorify heroes. And for the longest time, I strived to be one. I thought that heroism meant becoming my best self. That, you know, putting on my oxygen mask so that I can help others, like save others from their certain doom. But I found that the truth is that the hero's journey represents just one story in a saga of one person's life. What I mean, I guess, is that over time, once a hero has accumulated enough experience, they actually become the guide of the story. You see, our movies portray the hero riding off into the sunset at the end of the movie after they've won the day, and they ride off and live happily ever after. But in real life, that's not the end. That's not the end of your life when you finish the story. You don't die once you reach the end of the horizon. Not literally. Heroes live on, facing new problems and eventually helping other people overcome their problems. Guiding them through their experiences that the former hero that's now cast as a guide had encountered before. You see, the way I see it, heroes are incomplete. They're still chasing something. We all think that it's good to be the hero, but heroism, as I see it, is for the young and inexperienced. Heroes are usually pretty dumb. They're ill-equipped, lacking in self-confidence and resolve. But it's the guide who helps them transform from boys to men, if you will. Think of Luke Skywalker. He's a classic example, and we're talking about narrative structure. When we meet him, he is a boy and emotionally immature, whining to his Uncle Ben about how he wants to go to market to pick up his converters or whatever. And it is the guide, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi, who leads him through this path of maturity and ultimately believing that he is enough and that he is capable of taking on the mantle of the Jedi. Prior to that, he was full of self-doubt. So heroes are incomplete. They chase after things. They're seeking to fill that void. But guides know better. Guides are whole. They have found resolve. They are experienced. They've been there, they've done that, and they found acceptance. They are complete. You see, all guides were once heroes. Heroism isn't about youth or treasure or glory, but it's about gaining experience. And once the heroes finally attain it, they're no longer heroes. They're guides. Let me give you some examples from my own life. Whether you're a hero or a guide has less to do with your age and more to do with your experience in a given field. For example, I have lots of experience studying language and literature and ample experience teaching and studying education. But I wasn't always an expert in those fields. I use that term loosely, expert. I struggled through my English classes in high school. I struggled to understand how the quote unquote smarter kids could see things in literature, the symbolism, to be able to analyze and pick apart a text. That doesn't come naturally to most people, and it didn't come naturally to me. It actually took years, I would say decades of practice in wrestling with texts that are outside my comfort zone to gain any real proficiency in that skill. Likewise, with teaching, I have less experience than I have studying literature. I have 11 years of teaching experience, but my first 3 years were just fumbling about, not really knowing what I was doing. I made stuff up and hoped it would work, and sometimes it stuck, and most of the times it didn't. It was an experimental time. It wasn't until my 4th year of teaching that I started to connect the dots and see how the system inside my classroom connected to the system outside my classroom and how it would all hooked together. And by year 5, I'd really earned my wings. And now I can confidently say that I'm well equipped to guide others who are just starting out in either of these fields. Heroes, while they're often cast as young students, they're not always, but they are all at the beginning of their journeys in their given field. So despite all of that, third example from my life, I am now approaching the age of 40, and I've had virtually no experience in business or marketing. And so now I'm on this hero's journey again to understand and master its fundamentals. And the fundamentals of those fields, I must admit, it thoroughly sucks. It's difficult and confusing at times. It's frustrating, like walking around blindly in the dark through the woods with no map or compass or torchlight. A guide would be really great. It would be really excellent right now. So I do seek out, resources online, and I've got books that I'm reading and I'm studying. The wisdom of those sources who have come before me is helpful in helping me build my knowledge and understanding and experience as I'm wrestling and practicing with these new skills for me. And I find myself humbled yet again by the infancy of my knowledge. But, such is the way of things on the hero's journey. It's not a glorified, heroic quest. It's just humility and learning and seeking and experimenting and refining and tweaking and trying again. It's a gritty existence. But heroes don't give up. At least they've got that going for them. We all start out as heroes. But experience, and more importantly, the wisdom that we gain from it, leads us to become guides for others. I believe we all start out wanting to be a hero in some form or fashion, whether you're a young nurse who wants to help people, or you want to succeed in business and earn a lot of money, or whatever, I believe we all start out wanting to have our big adventure. And I think as we gain experience, we realize how difficult they are. And we settle into the role of a guide, but I don't mean like settle in a negative sense. Like we don't settle into complacency, hopefully. But I should say we settle in the sense that we position ourselves to offer our services to those coming behind us on the same journey, on the same path. Seeking fame and gold and glory. I mean, the heroes discover there's something greater than those superficial trappings of material and commercial value. Instead, we find resolve and wholeness and completeness and acceptance. And it's from this platform of solidarity within self, this resolve, that we find enlightenment. Whether that's enlightenment in a given field or enlightenment in a spiritual sense, we transcend above that which we formerly sought after. And then we're able to guide others. And it's a beautiful thing. So here's my proposition to you. If you would like to kickstart your journey, or if you've lost your way, if you've lost the thread of your story, I would invite you to check out something that my colleagues and I have been working on. We're developing an online community for people who learn stuff. It's not officially launched yet. We're building it, and we'd love to have you join. It's a place for heroes, those who are just starting on their journeys, and it's a place for guides as well, to meet and share their knowledge and wisdom with others. It doesn't matter what field you're in. It's a place for creators, for builders, for dreamers and seekers. It's for people who want to learn more, to be more, to seek truth, and to develop understanding of whatever. That's really up to you as a member of community. You get to decide what this community is about, because really it's about sharing knowledge and wisdom. Whether you're a chef or a mechanic or a pilot or an artist or someone working in a business field, or you're just a student and you're trying to figure out what you want to be, our plan is to develop resources for you to learn, to discover, to share, and more importantly, I'd say most importantly, to develop a place of community. It's a place where people come together and build and share their wisdom and collaborate in their learning. I kind of think of it as an all-inclusive resort for your mind. It's a place to play with the skills that I've been teaching in these videos. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to stay tuned and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and like this video. That really helps us with the algorithm. And then leave a comment and tell us where you are in your journey. Are you in the struggle? Are you trying to develop some new skill or break your way into a field? Or have you gathered some wisdom worth sharing? Let us know. I'll see you in the next video.